Hello and welcome to Daily News Simplified, an analysis of the Hindu newspaper from UPSC perspective. Today we will be discussing the Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 17th April 2020. And the articles that we will discuss today are displayed on your screen. So let us start our discussion. Now, in continuation of our series of discussion related to various features of the eLearn platform, which can be very helpful for you in the preparation of civil services examination, let us look at one important feature of this eLearn platform, and that is the forum for the discussions of students and various other important aspects related to the civil services exam. So if you click on this tab of forum, you will find various discussion threads that have been started on this forum. And the contributors in these threads can be students and aspirants as well as the educators on this platform. Further, various queries of the students are being answered by the educators, and it also acts as a platform where different aspirants can interact and know about the various aspects of the civil services examination. Now, in the discussion categories on this forum, there are all categories under which all the important categories related to the civil services discussion are present. Again, there are categories related to general discussions, and then there are two important categories that are the mains examination related category and the prelims examination related category. And in this, various suggestions have been provided by the students who are following different approaches for notes making related to the current affairs. And this will help you in finalizing a strategy for notes making for yourself. Again, if you look at this important discussion, it is related to international organizations and the changing world dynamics. And this can be a very important aspect for us from the mains examination point of view. And in this, our educators will be providing you with the important aspects related to this theme. And at the same time, you can also provide your suggestions and enrich the discussion. Now, we have been getting a lot of queries related to mains question discussions. So you can see that on this platform, a question has been posted, that is pandemic lockdown and the rising domestic violence. And in this, students have posted their answers related to this theme. Now, by posting the answers on this platform, you will get the expert opinion on the answer that you have written, and also you can get various important suggestions from the peers that are present on this platform, and that will help you in enriching your preparation for the mains examination, and especially the very important aspect of answer writing. So again, this is also another sample of answer that has been written on this platform by our students. And as you can see, the suggestions have been provided by the students who are the peers as well as by the educators on this platform. Further, in the discussion related to the prelims examination, you will find different threads, for example, how to read newspaper for the preliminary examination, and also important topics that are in news. And these are at times posted by the students themselves and also by the staff members. So this discussion forum can be a very enriching experience and keep you focused in your preparation. And at the same time, you can analyze as to what are the improvements that are required for you in your preparation, and especially in the answer writing for the mains examination. Now, this article on page number 4 talks about the issues that are being faced by the unorganized laborers in India, and it is in the form of an interview by a labor expert. However, what we will do in this article is that we will look at the classification of the laborers in India, which has been provided by the National Statistical Office, and also what has been the changing trend in various kinds of employments that have been defined by the NSO. So that can be an important aspect for us from the preliminary examination point of view under the topic economic development. Now, in the prelims examination of 2018, a question was asked regarding the observations of the National Sample Survey Organization's 70th round of situation assessment of survey of agricultural households. Now, this question was a pretty factual question, and one needed to be aware of the important observations or the report which was released by the NSSO. Now, in this, if you look at the statements, the first is that Rajasthan has the highest percentage share of agricultural households amongst its rural household. The second statement is that out of the total agricultural households in the country, a little over 60% belong to other backward classes. And third is that in Kerala, a little over 60% of the agricultural household reported to have received maximum income from the sources other than the agricultural activities. Now, in these three statements, the second statement that is given here is incorrect because the number of OBCs in the agricultural households are about 45% as highlighted by this report of NSSO. And by knowing that the second statement is correct, you can eliminate the options A, B, and B. And the correct answer that comes out is C, that is 1 and 3 only. So now if you look at the different categories of the workers which have been defined by the National Statistical Office, you will find that it defines or classifies the workers on the basis of employment status into three particular categories. First is the self-employed workers, second are the regular wage or salaried employees, and third are the casual laborers. Now this first self-employed category includes the employers, own account workers and unpaid family labor. And this includes those who work for themselves and do not sell their labor power to anyone else in return of wage. So although they are working and contributing to the economic activity, they are not getting any wage in return. Now in this, the own account workers include those who operated their enterprises on their own account without hiring any labor during the reference period, while employers are those own account workers who ran their enterprises by hiring laborers. So employers have hired laborers, however, the own account workers have not hired any laborers. Further, the unpaid family laborers or helpers include those who are engaged in their household enterprises. So even these people are not getting any wage in the return. Now then there are the regular wage or the salaried employees, and these are those who receive predetermined wages or salaries on a regular basis. And then there are casual workers, and these include those laborers who are hired for a very short period of time on either daily or a monthly basis. So these are the three categories of workers which have been defined by the National Statistical Office. And within the self-employed category, there are three categories, and that include the employers, the own account workers, and the unpaid family labor. Now, the trend of change in these categories of the workers has been provided by the Economic Survey of this year. And they have provided a comparative study of the different categories of workers in the year 2011 and 12 with that of the year 2017 and 18. And both these have been provided for rural plus urban combined. So you can see in these pie charts that the percentage of casual workers has dropped from 30% in the year 2011 and 12 to 25% in the year 2017 and 18. So this marks a drop of 5%. Again, the percentage share of the regular wage or salaried workers was about 18% in 2011 and 12, and now it has changed to about 23% in the year 2017 and 18. Again, the percentage of people who are unpaid family laborers has also dropped, and it was 18% in 2011 and 12, and it is now 14%. And the own account workers were about 33% in 11 and 12, and now they have increased to about 36% in the year 2017 and 18. So some of the important observations are that the share of different categories in the present times is that the self-employed are about 52%, the casual workers are about 25%, and the regular wage or salaried workers are about 23%. And in this, the trend of largest share is that the own account workers account for the largest share of workers, and they are about 36%, and they are then followed by the casual workers who are about 25%, and the regular wage or salaried workers about 23%. Further, another important trend that should be noticed is that there has been an increasing trend in the regular wage or the salaried workers, and their share has increased from 18% in 2011 and 12 to 23% in 17 and 18. Further, as far as the self-employed category is concerned, the proportion of self-employed workers has remained unchanged at about 52%. And regarding the casual workers, we have noticed earlier that there is a decrease in their share from 30% to 25%. So these are a few important observations of the report, and with this, let's take up the next news article now. Now, due to the importance of social distancing due to the outbreak of coronavirus, there has been a growing interest in the telemedicine. And in this, if the virtual reality is converged with the telemedicine, it can go a long way in helping the access to medical care for different sections of the society. And this can be an important part for us from General Studies paper 2 under the topic Issues Relating to the Management of Health Sector. So in this, let us look at the key highlights of this editorial and also look at the important applications of virtual reality in solving the real life problems. Now, simply regarding the virtual reality, you should note that it is a set of technologies which are used for simulating a real world experience in order to elicit the response of the user to different real life situations. And you might be knowing that different virtual reality devices are on sale in the market. Further, the virtual reality can also be used for creating a new experience completely different from the real world to engage the users. Now, as compared to virtual reality, there is another technology which is known as augmented reality. And in that augmented reality technology, the information that is available with the normal visualization of any reality is augmented or increased in terms of the understanding. Now, regarding the scope of virtual reality, you should note that the virtual reality can be used for telemedicine from consultation to patient management. Also, it is now presently being used in mental health counseling sessions. It is being used in extending the socio-psycho support, etc. Further, it has usage in the educational sector also, and increasingly it is being used to deliver educational content using the 3D models, and this enhances the learning experience of the students and the users. Then it is again being used in the advertisement sector and especially by the e-commerce website to increase the user experience. And in that, it stimulates a shopping experience of the retail store. Further, it is being used in the entertainment industry where it is being used in the 3D gaming and also in the manufacturing sector. And by this, it tries to simulate the manufacturing processes and thereby it tries to increase the productivity. So these are a few important applications of the virtual reality, and these can be important for us from the preliminary examination point of view. And you might be knowing that in the year 2018, a question was asked related to the applications of the 3D printing technology. So whenever you go through a new technology, do take care of learning about the applications of that technology, and they are important for us from the preliminary examination point of view. With this, let's take up the next article now. Now, this lead editorial on page number 6 talks about reviving the economy in the backdrop of the bad impact on the economy that has been there because of the lockdown which has been imposed due to the COVID-19 outbreak. And in this line, this article provides certain suggestions to revive the economy which has been adversely impacted because of this lockdown. So this can be an important aspect for us from the General Studies paper 3 under the topic Indian Economic Development. Now, in various previous DNS videos, we have already discussed various articles that have appeared related to the revival of Indian economy in the backdrop of lockdown. So, in the DNS of 25th March 2020, we have discussed about the steps to deal with the economic impact of the lockdown. So, in this article, let us try and understand some of the suggestions that have been provided regarding the revival of Indian economy and starting of the economic activity in different parts of the country. Now, the revival of economy focuses both on providing the right to food and work to the underprivileged sections of the society, and at the same time, it also focuses on the revival of economic activity in the non-hotspot areas. And further, it also looks at the protection of the formal jobs in different sectors. Now, one of the measures that has been suggested is the cash transfer to the rural poor, and that will increase their purchasing power and that can lead to increased demand. So the suggestion is that the bottom half of all the households, that is 13 crore out of the 26 crore families, must be given rupees 5,000 per family in their bank account directly. And that will increase their purchasing power and which will ultimately lead to the increased demand. And that can help in reviving the economic demand in the Indian economy. Second suggestion is regarding the expansion of right to food. And in this, it has been suggested that the Food Corporation of India already has excess buffer stock. So in India's case, this buffer stock should be used to provide food grains free of cost to every household in India. And we already know that this year's Rabi crop has been a bumper crop in India. So there is no likelihood of a shortage of food in India in the coming years. Third suggestion is regarding the expansion of right to work, and in this the authors have suggested that the April 15 guidelines issued by the government for allowing the MGNREGA work should be restarted. However, at the same time, the social distancing norms should be followed in every activity that takes place under the Manrega work. Now, in this regard, the district collectors should be given freedom to start and expand the Manrega works. And if work cannot be given for some reason, then 10 days' wage every month should be paid to the registered MGNREGA workers. Now, we already know that some of the areas in our country are emerging as hotspots of the COVID-19 outbreak. So, the suggestion is that the central and the state governments must work together in the spirit of cooperative federalism and identify these hotspots. And once these hotspots have been identified, economic activity should be started with some exceptions in the non-hotspot areas. And at the same time, various small shops, service establishments, and the self-employed should be allowed to start commercial activity in the non-hotspot areas. Now, another problem that is being faced is the opening up of transportation lines. And in this regard, it has been suggested that although the government has allowed the agricultural activity to resume, there has been a shortage of labor. And this has proved to be an hindrance to the Rabi harvesting season in agricultural areas. So, in order to make up for the shortage of labor, there is a need for opening up of rail and bus transport. However, adequate precaution needs to be taken care. And in this, it has been suggested that there should be regular temperature checks and social distancing norms inside the buses and the trains need to be followed. And in this, one of the suggestions is that the number of passengers that travel in a bus and train can be reduced and the frequency of vehicles should be increased. Now, after taking care of the rural areas and suggestions for increasing the demand in the economy, the other aspect that has been focused by the authors is regarding the protection of the formal jobs in India. And in this, the suggestion is that the government should follow the United States of America's Paycheck Protection Program. And this will ensure that the formal sector continues to keep their employees on their payroll rather than retrenching them or firing them. And under this program, the US government provides loan to the small scale business entities at cheaper rates so that they can pay salaries to their employees and meet their operational expenses during the exceptional economic times of the lockdown which has been imposed due to the COVID-19 crisis. So these are few suggestions which have been provided by the authors regarding the cash transfer, expanding right to food and right to work, and also resumption of economic activity in non-hotspot areas. And to make up for the shortage of labor, there is a need for opening up of transportation lines. However, there is a need for exercising precaution. And for protection of formal jobs, the author suggests the United States style Paycheck Protection Program, and under which loans can be provided to the small scale businesses at cheaper rates so that these businesses can pay salaries and also meet their operational expenses. So these are few suggestions for the revival of economic activity, and at the same time you should also go through previous DNS videos to understand the various other suggestions that have been provided previously in different articles. And a compilation of different suggestions for revival of economic activity will be provided in the Focus magazine of the coming month. With this, let's take up the next news article now. Now, this article on page number 13 is regarding the depreciation in the value of rupee against the different currencies and especially against the dollar. And presently, the value of rupee is at about rupees 76.87 per dollar. Now, the rupee has been depreciating because of the slowdown in the Indian economy as well as the global economy. And also, the problem has further been increased because of the lockdown on the economic activity because of the COVID-19 outbreak. And various aspects of the currency depreciation have been discussed already in the Daily News Simplified of 20th March 2020. So do go through this video to try and understand the various aspects of currency depreciation in detail. And that can be a very important aspect for us from the preliminary examination point of view. And in this regard, let us look at two questions that have been asked in the preliminary examination related to the depreciation in the rupee. So now these two questions were asked in the preliminary examination of 2019. And this question reads, which one of the following is not the most likely measure the government or the RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? So do take care of such words as to which of the following is not a measure or which of the statements are incorrect. And normally our tendency is to skip these words like not or incorrect in the real examination. And if you look at the options, first is the curbing imports of non-essential goods and promoting exports, which is actually a measure which will lead to increased foreign exchange earnings for India and it will help in the appreciation of Indian rupee. Again, if you look at the second option, it talks about encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee dominated masala bonds. Now, this step will help the Indian companies to raise loans in the rupee, and that will again not lead to the slide of Indian rupee. And the third again is related to easing the conditions of external commercial borrowing, which is again the inflow of foreign currency into India. So, the only incorrect measure that has been given here is following an expansionary monetary policy. So if the government follows an expansionary monetary policy, it will not have any impact or it will not lead to the stopping of the slide of Indian rupee. So the correct answer was D. Again, if you look at this second question, it reads, in the context of India, which of the following factors is or are the contributor or contributors to reducing the risk of currency crisis? The first is related to the foreign currency earnings of India's IT sector, and this increases the inflow of foreign currency and helps in reducing the risk of currency crisis. So this is a correct statement. Again, if you look at this third, it also leads to the flow of foreign exchange into India in the form of remittances from the Indians who live abroad. And this will also help in reducing the risk of currency crisis. However, the second step, that is increasing the government expenditure, does not have any impact on reducing the risk of currency crisis. So the correct answer that comes out is B, that is 1 and 3 only. So do go through that DNS video and try and understand the various aspects of the rupee depreciation and appreciation, and they can be very important for us from the preliminary examination point of view. And also, we will be releasing shortly the prelims practice of the economy. And in that, we have discussed various important questions based on the previous year questions. Now, with this, we conclude today's discussion. Now, let's take up the question for the day.